Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Evan Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejan Sarowick. How you doing, Sejan?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
I didn't call you Joskin Howries, so I think I'm doing okay. I feel like my voice is a little hoarse.
People aren't going to get that for so long.
I know, right? God willing and the creek don't rise, right?
Oh man,
yeah.
But no man. I mean, this has been it's been a decent week. I have been, in the throes of Borderlands, just really digging into some of the smaller side stuff in it. It's just been a blast. I don't know. I know that game is still having its problems and criticisms, fair criticisms. So I find it hard to gush about it, but I'm really just not having a bad experience. So I just don't know what to say.
Well, I guess I wish I could agree with you. And it's not for lack of trying. I haven't been playing any Borderlands 4. So I guess it is exactly for lack of trying. I mean, all the stuff that's being said about it, we already said that Randy Pitchford's a fucking idiot. And
yes,
yeah, we can say that 100 more times, and it'll be true every single time. But I just haven't played it, and that's because immediately following the recording of last week's episode, I dove headfirst into Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I could finally say I finished it. And you're not wrong. By finished it, I have rolled credits. Yeah, it was a time. But before we get into that, I need to apologize for something. Not really apologize. I need to clarify something.
Okay.
And that was, I've been waging a bit of a war on these shows that for some reason are premiering on streaming later and later in the day. Turns out that Futurama, I said I'd understand it if there was a airing element to it. Like if the show were airing at 8 p.m. somewhere, and that's why they waited until Monday at 8 p.m. on September 15th to release the show. And it turns out that while all 10 episodes of season 13 of Futurama are currently available to view on Hulu, they are kind of simulcasting on FXX Mondays at 8 p.m. They're doing 2 episodes every Monday. So this past week they did 3 and 4, and that first week when they released them to Hulu, they aired the first and second episode on FXX. So that was me just not knowing that was happening. And I made kind of a big stink about it. But that being brought to my attention, I kind of get it. I still don't understand why Peacemaker, when it doesn't have a simulcast airing on a regular HBO channel, is 9 p.m. on Thursdays. But the show's so good that I'm not going to complain about it. That's what I'm going to say.
I know. And I think one of the other things that we talk around and about sometimes, but really this is a symptom of networks getting involved in the streaming side of things. The second that networks got involved, you started to get these streaming situations that were trying to emulate broadcast television. And it sucks because it's the whole reason that streaming was cool when it first started was that it was something new and different that wasn't like watching cable or broadcast TV. And
exactly, it was a third thing. Yeah. And we needed a third thing. We did.
Yeah. And you got HBO coming in, who was used to doing the weekly, premieres of episodes thing, and it being a draw so that they can measure, gives them a marker of that it's all business shit, and it sucks because this was supposed to be a different kind of business, but it's cable 2.0.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of worse than cable 2.0. In a lot of ways. At least cable, when it first came around, had no ads. I was reminded of the fact that the Disney Channel used to just be movies.
Oh, yeah, man. I have many a taped movie off of the Disney Channel when I was a kid that I remember started with a commercial, but then would be a commercial-free presentation the rest of the way.
Right, and that commercial it started with was generally for something else that was going to be on Disney Channel.
It was always whatever movie was going to premiere in
fast food or marketing. Really has ruined everything. Really, the pursuit of the almighty dollar that was just a mistake, and we should probably go back to, I don't know, barter, right? How do you do advertisements for barter? Come on down to McDonald's, where 5 beads will get you a Big Mac, large Coke, and fries. I don't know.
No longer accepting blankets.
Yeah, they're never going to accept blankets. Wait, Columbus Day is not this week, right? That's a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, good.
Indigenous Peoples Day. Let's call it what it actually should be called. All right. So back to Borderlands 4. I'm glad that you're having fun with it. I exhausted myself completing Donkey Kong Bonanza. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I started playing last Sunday, and I have to tell you, the rest of the game from where I was, so sublayer 1000 through, spoilers for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Are you all right if I spoil some things about Donkey Kong Bonanza?
Yeah, no, go ahead. I get the impression it's a lot like Mario Odyssey in that there's a lot to discover and explore, but it just goes on and on forever, yeah?
Yeah, but the thing about Mario Odyssey is that, I don't know, I was excited every time I discovered something. Like, Donkey Kong Bonanza didn't really do that for me. And I will say, what I noticed in the 900th sublayer, where, like, all of the wonder of exploration has kind of left the game at this point, that persists through the remaining 6 layers, right? Because each layer, even though it adds 100 to your count, it's 6 additional things. So following the 900th sublayer 1000 is the junkyard. And literally all you have to do is dig through to the bottom of the junkyard. There are bananas along the way, there's some ruins along the way, and that type of stuff. But the whole point of it is, we're in some sort of junkyard. Let's
Delaware.
dig through.
Yay, we're in Delaware.
I mean, New Jersey was a junkyard for a while too. But yeah, so that's what 1000 is. 1100 is the famous racing area that has shown up in so many trailers. The fact that you run into Diddy and Dixie and you're going to ride Ramby and it's a race. And thank goodness they take, they're kind to the player. All you have to do is win one race. It's not like all I could think of when I got there. And it's a huge arena. And all this was, oh my God, this is going to be the 3rd chapter of Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, where I'm going to have to rise through the ranks and then eventually win to get through to the next layer. That is not the case. Thankfully, that is not the case. They took pity on the poor player. And as soon as you get there, you register with Diddy and Dixie. They complain that they haven't had any good competition. So you immediately jump to a competition race where if you can win, you get to stand atop the trophy, which is where the tunnel to the next sublayer is. So that's 10 and 11. 1200, you get your final bonanza. And it is so less involved than the rest of them. There is one really cool element to this level where all of the stuff that you fight, all of the enemies, have to be exposed to sunlight before you can do damage to them. And there are ways to like make sunlight come in or move things around so that sunlight comes, or break a wall so that sunlight will shine. Like, that's a pretty cool element. But overall, getting the spoilers, the snake bonanza, is kind of uneventful. And then you go up and the final fight, it's just a refight. All of the fights until the 1600th layer are just refights of things you already fought before, which like that just feels like, yeah, we kind of ran out of steam, but Nintendo wanted us to make more game.
I mean, are they upped at all? Like, is it like you have to do it 6 times instead of 3 this time, or like new patterns or anything like that?
Occasionally, like,
is there any?
It's different. Like, materials that they're made of, but like one of the things, like the Clomper Stomper, that whole fight, you could just destroy the feet. This time the feet are on fire, but they can't both be on fire at the same time. So when it steps, the one that lands is on fire, and then it goes out, then it, deignites as the next one moves on fire. So it wasn't that difficult a fight to figure out. And you didn't take any, it's not like, oh God, that was just lava, so like you have to attack it with something. No. Once it's no longer on fire, you can just attack it.
So like a lot of what you've been saying so far sounds a little bit like nonsense if you don't know what the game is about.
Right,
so like,
exactly.
Like your last bonanza and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like what is like the hook of this one? Like I get the whole layers thing, right? Are you going up or down? I thought you were going down, but
you're trying to go into the core to find the great Bonandium root that will grant your wish. And Pauline's wish is to go home. Donkey Kong's wish is predictably for bananas. Even though we've been collecting bananas the whole game, Donkey Kong wants more bananas.
I mean, it's kind of always been his motivation.
That's his motivation, right? And K. Rool knows that, right? In the very first game, I'm going to abduct all your... Not abduct, because they're not alive. I'm going to steal all of your bananas, and that's going to make you come for me. And then while that's done, I can, like, wreak havoc on your home area. I don't know. It's what the heck. But yeah, so the bonanzas are transformations that you gain, because apparently within the world that Donkey Kong lives in, there are great elders who are also DJs, and Pauline wants to be a singer. So whenever you come upon one of these great elders, Void Co., because Void Company and Void is just his name as far as I can tell, the CEO of the company, they are the villains. And every time that they go by one of these great elders, they break their great record into however many pieces. The most that it's ever broken into is to 4 separate pieces. And so you have to recover the record, put it in front of the great elder, and then they teach Pauline a song, the song on the record. And then while Pauline has a magic voice, Seijin. And so when she sings the song of each of the elders, Donkey Kong, Donkey Kong, not Donkey Kong from the original arcade game, that's Cranky Kong now, but Donkey Kong as we've known him since 1994's Donkey Kong Country.
I do like the throwback though to the original Donkey Kong with the layer concept, like the constantly climbing different obstacle layer concept being a large part of this. But sorry, go ahead.
No, it's fine. No. But yes, so as you become a giant gorilla instead of just regular like Donkey Kong, you become a bonanza gorilla that's stronger and can break some materials that regular Donkey Kong cannot. You become a zebra gorilla that can run really fast, and also because it's moving fast, it can stand on delicate things. Ostrich gorilla, which allows you to glide and drop eggs. Donkey Kong lays eggs that are bombs in this game. The 4th bonanza is elephant, which is literally just gorilla, but you can also suck up layers and then shoot them out of your trunk. And then the final one bonanza is snake bonanza, which allows you to jump and also freeze time. Because I guess Medusa is where that comes from.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. And like that part... and it also comes so far along where you're like, oh, so I need to use this. There's really no practical usage for the snake bonanza outside of, we have to jump up in this one area.
Yeah, I will say. I mean, it's a good throwback to the snake in Donkey Kong Country. I actually think he's in Donkey Kong Country 2, right? Yeah. But the springy, he's like springy, and his whole thing is being able to jump really high. So like the idea of it being a big jump is cool. I don't know the freezing time thing. That seems like they just needed that mechanic somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Rattly the Rattlesnake is the name of the jumping snake from Donkey Kong Country 2, and that's his only appearance. He doesn't appear in any of the other games. Poor Ratley.
Does he show up in the show? I wonder. Ramby definitely does.
Ramby definitely does, and I think
And
Engarth,
and the parrot does.
Oh yeah, Squawks.
Squawks. Right?
Squawks gets the biggest upgrade of any of them, because in the first game, Squawks just holds a lantern in dark levels, but then by the second game, since Donkey Kong's not there, he's carrying around Diddy and Dixie.
And has an attack.
And yeah, he can shoot nuts out of his mouth.
I always thought they were corks when I was a kid. I don't know why.
Corks?
I was like bottle corks. Like I thought, because he's a parrot and pirates drink rum and rum can be corked.
Also, the noise is like like a cork coming out of something. I don't know why I'm doing that. Also, what I've done this morning, right after the whole Donkey Kong bonanza of it all, my voice is tired. So apologies for that too, but we'll get through that. So yeah, so then you get the Snake Bonanza, and you refight, not Candy Kong, whatever the sexy gorilla girl is called. I did not look up any of these names, but Voidco is all sorts of gorillas who are working together. There is Grumpy Kong, there's Void, and then there's honestly, you call Candy Kong Booby Kong, that's what the internet calls her. This is completely different in terms of we tried to make this one attractive. What is her freaking name? The best Kong's Poppy Kong. Her name is Poppy Kong. And she is the one that you need to use the snake slowdown for, because she has a perfume that makes her invisible and able to move super fast. So there's all sand on the ground so you can track her, and then you slow her down so you can beat her ass, because she is basically middle management. She is not a fighter. Even Grumpy Kong, who's a big scary orangutan, all he does is build constructs for you to fight. But after the fight in the 1200th sublayer, the giant eel shows up, the great eel, because eels are how you travel between the layers. You take elevators, and then there's the mother eel, who can actually go between the larger sublayers. Elevators can take you anywhere that you visited within a layer.
This game sounded silly before. We have gone into fucking bizarre at this point.
Yeah, and then there's the mother eel, and then you find out while you're doing the whole snake thing that there is a father eel, and nobody has seen him for years and years. So once you defeat Poppy, the great eel shows up and devours Pauline. So it's no, Pauline's gone. It's super sad. And Donkey Kong is captured by the people on the 1300th layer, who believe that he is the reason why the music has stopped. And without music at the disco layer, how can they party, Sejin? How can we party if we have no music?
Oh my god.
So this is cool. I will admit that this is kind of cool, but again, nothing is hyper engaging after this thing. But this was the one that had the coolest concept before we get to the final of it all, which is you go down 3 separate chambers and you turn on the music again. So you turn on the music, and then Void has blocked it. So then you have to do the Donkey Kong Bonanza thing and dig a tunnel that will allow the music to get back to the main dance area, so that all the people can dance again. And then, weirdly, the 1400th layer is fast food layer. I'm not sure why, but it's like the Feast Kingdom from Mario Odyssey, where all the stuff is made of food, except it's made of greasy food. And what you have to do is stomp on 5 switches. You can do these in any order. And each switch drops the ingredients to build a giant hamburger, which then you must climb up the giant hamburger in order to make it to the next layer. which is the 1500 layer, final showdown with Void, and there's the Banandium root, and it's kind of shaped like a big golden dome with like, it kind of looks like a belly button in the middle. That's what the Banandium root looks like. So you defeat Void, but then he makes Pauline sing, which wakes up the Banandium root, and lo and behold, it was King K. Rool all along. So bait and switch with like kind of an engaging villain, right? Like Voidco in the way that he's like going through the world and everything that you find out about. Okay, that's cool. You find out that all the gold in the game is actually Banandium roots. So you've been connecting Banandium the whole time. So we're trying to get to the center one. And then after King K. Rool wakes up, he punches Void into the sun, the artificial sun that all of these layers seem to have. And then you have to chase him down. And now all of the enemies that you fought in the game, instead of having like weird golden skeletons, are like Kremlings in disguise. So like you'd think that like this 1600th layer, I would be like losing my shit. But the game had browbeaten me so badly that I did not give a shit about destroying a crocoid, and inside now I'm fighting Kremlings, or defeating one of the birds and then suddenly I'm fighting a Neki. Like, it should have been this nostalgic celebration, but honestly I feel like it just came along like too late. Like if the reveal that King K. Rool were the big bad came in the thousandth sublayer, I think that it would have been like a real reason to want to move forward. And that's what I thought was going to happen. I honestly thought that after 1,000 sublayers, we'll reveal who's who, right? No, that's not. It still keeps going. So you only have one sublayer where you're dealing with King K. Rool as the big bad. You get to him.
That is a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. You get to him, you fight him, you win. They rip off Donkey Kong Country with the fake credits. They call it Don K Bonanza. No, Don K period Ong Bonanza is what the credits read. And they do that. So then as you're escaping on your wish, you know, to go home and for bananas, he comes up with his little backpack, the flying backpack from Donkey Kong Country 3. Again, these should be like callbacks that are making me, somebody who's been on the Donkey Kong Country train since 1994, like swell with like nostalgic wonder. And I'm just like, man, I would just want to go play the Donkey Kong Country games again. Like those are fun. This has kind of been what every Donkey Kong game since Donkey Kong Country 3 has been. Feeling like a lot of filler. Feeling like we just want to make it bigger and bigger. Have you played Donkey Kong 64? You cannot pull a switch until you buy the ability to pull a switch. Everything is locked behind fucking... Oh. You can't ground pound till you find that. I mean, you can ground pound, it just doesn't activate switches till you give Cranky Kong however many fucking coconuts or coins it costs. Not a big fan. I'm just going to be honest about you. With you.
Oh man.
So then,
I will. So yeah. So I do have a question for clarification. Just like, are you playing this game? Like, it sounds like there's a lot to do in this game. Am I wrong?
There's a lot to do in this game. But I think the problem is that eventually it's not fun anymore. Like
but are you forcing yourself to do like complete a lot of things on layers that you maybe don't necessarily need to be completing?
No. When I started back up last Sunday, all I did was beeline it to the objectives.
Okay. Cool.
And I still collected enough bananas in order to like upgrade myself and make it through areas. It's one of those situations, and this came super early for Dale. Dale has not played this game since she reached sublayer 300, right? Just to like be completely honest about where this came from for her. And that's because she, on level 2, sublayer 200, destroyed everything. And now, like, there's just nowhere else to go for her. And I mean, I did the same thing on 200. I collected every banana and puzzle piece, everything that's available to collect on sublayer 200. And then I'm like, oh, I don't think I ever need to do that again. And it turns out that, like, when you take away that, like, exploration part of it, the game is not that engaging. At least it wasn't engaging for me. I will admit that. It's been hella engaging for speedrunners who have found ways to, like, skip whole sublayers. Like, That's super cool for them. It just as I kept going. So yeah, so in his backpack, and you eventually escape from the underground. And now here's the big spoiler, Sejum. Where do you think you come out in the real world? Where do you think you manifest?
Remember, New Donk City.
New Donk City. And K. Rool gets hold of the Banandium root again and turns himself into a big gloopy banana mush monster. You have to climb up an Empire State Building style thing and then fight him one final time. And I almost beat him on my first try, but I forgot that I had the elephant bonanza. Which is what I needed to do to solve the one part where I'm like, I don't know how to beat you. And then second try, I cleared it. So, I mean, overall, you know what this playing through Donkey Kong Bonanza, forcing myself to finish the game made me realize that King K. Rool and Donkey Kong are just Godzilla and King Kong. And I know that that's, like, ridiculous, but I never really considered that, like, the Kremlings are supposed to be Godzilla. Because apparently gorilla and giant lizard is a matchup that just exists in popular culture.
Well, especially Japanese culture, right?
Yeah. So,
oh man, good shit. I am still interested in playing the game. It's kind of one of those things where, like, knowing this going in, I think that I could probably temper my experience in a way that I will still enjoy myself. You know.
Yeah, I think so. Like, this is kind of a warning to anyone who hasn't played it. If you keep going, once you hit that level, because it does seem most people that I've spoken to who have not yet finished the game got to that level where Dale was at sublayer 300 and where I was at sublayer 1000, where like nothing, the game loop of this is no longer triggering dopamine in me. So why would I continue playing this game? And that's a shame. That's a shame for this game because they clearly put some thought into it. But also, those last 5 layers before I got to, like, the Kremling layer, they really just felt like the shortest possible things. Like dig to the bottom of this junkyard. I was through to sublayer 1100 like in less than half an hour. And then win one race. And I did that on my first try with no practice. I'm like, I'll get practice on the frickin' track. And I won, right? Like, it's like, oh, okay. Like, that was kind of lame. I enjoyed, as much as I did enjoy the, like, dance thing, it also was like, all right, now I'm just literally going to do that 2 more times. They didn't really add anything to it at all. Like, it was just get through and then dig a hole so that the sound can get back from here. I don't know. Like, I think, yeah. I mean, temper your expectations. It's a fun game, but, I mean, I barely upgraded Donkey Kong outside of his ability to punch through stronger metals. I didn't do any of the, like, warp areas in 1000 through to the end of the game. And those are supposed to be fun, like ruin levels that are, like, side-scrolling. And I'm just like, I don't care. I do not care to do this anymore. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm happy that I'm done with it. But again, I've just rolled credits because once you come back to it, you start on Ingot Island again, and then Pauline shows up and I'm going to perform at City Hall and I need a new song. Let's go see the Elders. They know a lot about music. And I'm like, no, I'm shutting you off. I'm not going to do that. Thank you. Thank you for letting me play you. I'm kind of done. But that's where I've been at. While you've been borderlanding, I finished Donkey Kong Bonanza. I had some other game things going on too, but we can talk about that, a little bit later in the episode. Because is there anything you've been doing besides Borderlands 4, Sejim?
I mean, not too much really. Like getting into the spooky season over here, like starting to cool down a bit and getting into like stew season, as it were.
It is still hot as balls over here. I have not really been comfortable the last couple of days. I thought that we were into fall, but it has not been enjoyable. But this being the last week of September that will transition into October, I was up at 5 o'clock this morning so that I could get 6 a.m. flu shots and COVID vaccination.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So I've been up.
Didn't realize you were riding high on this episode.
Yeah, no. So I'm on those, and then I got some donuts, and I cleaned the bathroom. I've done so much. Watched the final 2 episodes of Raising Hope, which I'm happy to say they did renew. We can talk about why they maybe renewed some shows on Hulu and things. Because the boycott worked. Jimmy Kimmel is back on ABC. Not only is he back on ABC, but Sinclair and Nexstar pulled their whole "we're still not going to air it" protest of the show.
But then ABC turned around and said, fine, we're taking sports away from you.
Yeah. Yeah. And this whole trying to get the ESPN deal, and oh god, it's going to be it's a scary time right now in the entire entertainment sphere. But I did watch we got through Raising Hope before the end of it. And that last episode is such a good bookend to the series with Kenny Loggins showing up and him singing Danny Boy. So I was crying there. And then it was about an hour before we were going to start. And I've been wanting to watch The Great Mouse Detective for a while. And that's an hour, 15 minutes. It's why I was 10 minutes late to start this morning, Sejin. Is because we said
what a good morning.
The Great Mouse Detective. But again, more tears, more post-nasal drip. I'm just full of phlegm. I'm gonna admit that. Man. So gross. Apologies for the voice and all that. But yeah, goddamn, is Great Mouse Detective just such a good movie. I love it so much.
Yeah, and it is a good tight 75 minutes. It's I love that one and how weird and dark it gets because it's the Sherlock Holmes, you get carte blanche to do this because everybody loves Sherlock Holmes, but there's some fucked up stuff there. That dude gets addicted to opium.
Yeah, right? I mean, thankfully they kept that one out of The Great Mouse Detective, but...
I mean, they kind of do. There's definitely a moment where he sits back and smokes something.
I believe it... Well, according to the warning on Disney+, this is rated G with depictions of tobacco.
Tobacco, yeah.
But you're right, it could easily... It's a pipe, though. And it's more like that type of tobacco smoking pipe than an opium pipe. Not that I know what an opium pipe looks like.
There's definitely a moment where he needs to kind of go into his thinking space to figure something out, and you realize that what that would be in the older me realized that this would be the part where he's getting high in his apartment and figuring everything out.
Right. This is where I get my clarity and I solved a case because I'm a Sherlock Holmes XP. Yeah, I don't know. It's just the animation in it is so good, and it's tight. I do like that it's tight because Dale's birthday, right? We celebrated Dale's birthday this weekend, so we got to watch some movies that she wanted to watch. Right, that's one of the things that we do in post-COVID Decker birthday celebrations. Is you basically program the day. So we started off the day with Pokemon, the first movie. And
Hey,
that movie's fun, and that movie is short. That movie is like 70 minutes long. But there's still some stuff in it where you're like, maybe we didn't need this. Like, maybe we could have just kept moving the story. There's like a part where it just slows to a halt.
I mean, isn't it basically 2 or 3 episodes of the show just slammed together? Like,
It was made to be a movie. So there
Yeah.
is that fact of it. But again, it probably was written with the idea that we could split it up later if we wanted to. But it is definitively a movie. Like, I don't know where the seams would be. Like,
yeah.
I think
Well, that's what I'm wondering about
yeah.
the filler. Is like, I was kind of wondering, like, if they needed to pamper, if they needed to like pump up an episode a little bit and give it 10 extra minutes in order for it to meet like broadcast standards, right? That's why I was wondering. But usually in those situations, you can tell where the breaks are, right?
Yeah, there's no real time where you can feel where the breaks are. And honestly, that filler feels like to get it up to the 70 minutes. Because it's about 10 minutes of filler where you're just like, this was working. I don't know, like, why did this happen here? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
I love
why
that movie because that movie, I mean, was the start of a just an obsession for just so many people, right? Like it is a perfect artifact of its time to like really kind of capture like what we were doing then and all of that. But as far as Pokemon movies go, I think Pikachu I Choose You is still probably the best Pokemon movie I have seen.
Well, and that one is also, in addition to being just a really good film, it's kind of a huge clip show in so many ways.
Yeah, it is a retelling of the first season, I think, of Pokemon. First arc of Pokemon, I guess. And so you're right. Yeah, like it hits a bunch of highlights, right?
So, and I does it happen with the part where Ash sacrifices himself in front of Mewtwo in Pokemon I Choose You? Yeah, so it kind of goes through the first movie. Because that's where it ends. Because there was a moment where I'm watching, I'm like, oh yeah, and this is the scene in Pokemon Pikachu I Choose You where Pikachu talks in human language.
Yeah.
So like that was fun. And then, we did more Raising Hope. She played some Let's Go Eevee on the big TV on her Switch 2. I don't know that there's actually any sort of like upgrade to the game, but it did look beautiful. I will admit that. Though also watching her play Let's Go Eevee, I understand why we haven't gotten more Let's Go remakes of earlier games.
Wasn't there like a Let's Go Pikachu as well or something?
Yeah, Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu are the red-blue of that release.
Right.
So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's so slow. There's no fighting except for with trainers. So, like, to train your Pokemon, you just have to catch Pokemon. And they give you no shortage of Pokeballs. Like, she'd been playing for an hour and had 78 Pokeballs. Every fight like rewards you with Pokeballs. So, but it's just like, this is slow. And the fact that fighting, like, you can't fight wild Pokemon, you just throw Pokeballs at them. Like, they were trying to emulate the Pokemon Go experience in a video game. And I see why, like, this was a good thing to get people into Pokemon Go so they could understand what's happening in it. But as much as I'd love like a Let's Go Togepi, Let's Go Pichu, I understand why we didn't get those.
Yeah. I don't hear... Pokemon fans are the weirdest because they'll complain up and down about their favorite games, but then I don't hear too much about the ones that they don't like. So like I don't know much about those games other than that they're moderately well received.
Yeah. I think it's just, I understand why they didn't like say this is the future of the series.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No. It was a bridge. It was a way to bridge the mobile game and the console experience. Like they wanted something that would kind of serve two masters in that way, and it sounds like it drags.
Yeah. And like Legends Arceus is kind of a build on that. And I think whatever we're gonna see in Legends ZA. Coming out in October 16th. I mean, like there's a new Switch 2 game coming, guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I I do not know if I'm going to play it. I feel real weird about it. I feel just weird about the Switch too, in just so many ways. Especially having completed a second game on it. And then upon completion of that second game, Mario Kart World getting an upgrade where, like, finally, it tells you where the P-switches you've already accomplished are. It just shows you where all the Peach coins are. You still have to find the question block stuff, but that one was always trackable, so it was relatively easy to do. You knew that each track, how many they had, and then it was just like driving around and finding them on the tracks. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go back to Mario Kart World, right? And I'm mad at myself in terms of Nintendo stuff too, because I completely forgot to do my Nintendo World Championships NES Edition challenges last week. So like 61 weeks in a row, and I'll never be able to get the 62nd week trophy. I haven't even done this week's yet because it just like took the wind out of my sails.
Sorry, man.
I'll probably do them after this recording. But yeah, so watching Pokemon was interesting. But then she wanted to do another movie. We watched SEAL Team, which is a Netflix original animated film. What do you think it's about, Siege? And what do you think SEAL Team's about?
It has to be about a group of actual SEALs that are, like, army agents, right?
They are hyper marine military force.
Hyper marine military force.
The HMMF.
And their best friend is a seagull.
Their best friend is actually a dolphin named Dolph, voiced by Dolph Lundgren.
Nice. Love that.
Yeah. I want to make sure that I have what that stands for. Hydromarine Military Force. I'm sorry. Not hyper. Hydromarine. Dolph Lundgren's great in the few things. It's got J.K. Simmons in it. Kristen Schaal. Patrick Warburton. Like, there's some names there. Jesse T. Usher plays the main character. Quinn. Who else is in it? Kate McCucci. They are friends with some seagulls, though I don't think they're seagulls. They're like the diving birds. I don't know. I don't know what those are actually called, because they're not big like seagulls. They're like those lithe ones. I'm not sure.
You okay? Pelican?
Nah, they're not big enough to be pelicans. I'll look it up. Diving D.
Oh man,
I'm not sure. It was interesting. I don't know. But it was like, so it's these seals and the sharks are the bad guys. And I don't know, Seal played a seal called Seal, and he sang a parody of Crazy.
Nice. Fantastic.
They did all the stuff that you got to do in something like that. But as something released in 2021, initially aiming for a 2019 release, or at least initially started in 2019 and then not released until 2021, because who knows what happened, because something happened on the way to 2021, right?
Yeah. We were distracted.
Yeah, there were some distractions. That movie is like 2 hours long, and it doesn't, like, it's like, we don't need this thing to happen twice. Like, there are two things that are exactly the same that happen between the sharks and the seals. And it's like, you guys put a lot of filler in the beginning, where if you just started it from, there's a death in it. If you just started it from the death, I think we'd get it. Like, we didn't need, it's not, because like the opening scene is different. The opening scene establishes why J.K. Simmons' like seal character is disgraced. But then when we're in present day, there's a whole chase that like ends with them barely escaping from a shark. And then that is followed up with a chase where one of the guys gets killed by a shark. And it's like, you could have just combined those two things. Like, that would have been fine. Like,
it's a South African film. Did you know that?
I know it takes place in Africa. I did not know it was South African.
Yeah, the company that made it, Triggerfish, has done a couple of other movies for Netflix. Kumba. But actually, I don't even think that was for Netflix. I think that was a Walmart DVD special. But that's the one that's all about the zebra. That's half zebra, half donkey or half horse or something. I forget what the other bit is. But like, so he's like not a true full zebra, but he wants to be one. So it's all about him like finding like the wilds of Africa. That was like one of their big ones that had come out really early on. And yeah, so apparently this is like their third or fourth movie, and they're a South African company.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked really
That also
good.
explains how you got Sharlto Copley in there.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. That when I'm
never
like, oh,
does
that's
anything
Sharlto
better.
Copley. Like I knew the voice. That made me happy. So Kumba is a half-striped zebra, born into an insular, isolated herd obsessed with stripes, and he goes out to gain his stripes because he won't be able to survive unless he gets his back stripes. He has stripes in the front, but not in the back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Poor Kumba.
Yeah, I remembered him being half zebra. I couldn't remember what the point was, but it's because he needs to go and get his stripes. It's a weird one. I watched it in a state at some point very early on in its existence.
Yeah, we've all been there. Siege. Jake T. Austin voices Kumba. Is that? Nope. I thought that was somebody else. But yeah, so that was SEAL Team, and it was one of those ones where maybe it's not 2 hours, but it just felt like, when is this gonna end? Like it didn't feel quick. How is it? It's an hour and 41 minutes. And it's just like one of those where like there's a lot of superfluous stuff, or like this scene is going on, we got the point. Like, and it just feels weird to then go back to like, when was Great Mouse Detective? It was after Don Bluth, because so much of it, I'm like,
1988, I think.
I think it's 86. That's my guess.
Oh, it might be 86. Yeah.
It's definitely the 80s. Great Mouse Detective, 1986. I did just watch it though, so I am, I'm coming from a point of maybe having seen it in the corner of my eye. God, but that Vincent Price as Radigan is just so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that scene in the toy shop will be a nightmare scenario for me. Just like them go like with all the toys attacking and Batley stealing the girl there. What's his name?
Fidget. When Fidget jumps out of the
Fidget.
bassinet.
Yeah, Fidget. Yeah. Oh,
It is.
man.
It's just really beautiful animation, and so much of it. I'm like, I wonder if Don Bluth worked on that, because it's kind of got that like Fifely vibe to it. Like, but really, it was just Disney being like, we need to have a response to Fifle.
I mean, the thing is like,
feels like it. Sorry.
it's the lost kind of animated film that Disney used to do that was grimy. I think of like Black Cauldron, right?
Yep.
And like and that sort of thing. Like, I mean, even to that effect, Sword in the Stone gets kind of there, but like,
I mean, you want to talk grimy, like grimy but beloved is 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah,
like
yeah. The Rescuers, right? Like the. I mean, Jesus, that movie is insane. Like I watched that movie a couple of months ago and just had some real feelings about like the plot of that movie, of like that poor girl being shoved down into this like hole that's filling up with water, and like I'm just like, wow, these villains are the fucking worst,
dude. And the Rescuers Down Under continues that trend.
Oh yeah,
that he's awful too. Like the Rescuers films, for being what is essentially the DNA of what would go on to be Chippendale Rescue Rangers, they are very different in terms of like how much peril adult humans are putting children humans in.
Yeah.
Because like the thing about the reason why I compare the Great Mouse Detective to Fifle is because it is so much like we see the human stuff and then we just see how the mouse world is like a weird mirror of what's going on, which is what I
Right.
remember most from Fievel Goes just Fievel, An American Tale. Like the moment where like the people are getting off of the ships, and then we cut down to the rigging and we see the mice, and that it's so much more detailed and brought to life. No, like it's based on a book, right? That's the secret of most of the Disney films, is that they are based on books, but then Disney supplants the book.
Was Fievel was Fox or W?
I don't know. Fievel is Steven Spielberg. So wherever Steven Spielberg was working. So
Amblin, maybe at that point. No?
I don't know if Amblin had come around. I'm looking it up right now. But my guess is Universal.
Well, Amblin started with E.T., didn't it? Sorry. Or Universal, yeah. But Fievel is, that's the thing about Don Bluth in general with what he was doing, was a lot of the stuff that he had more control over was dark, was kind of gritty in a lot of ways, that other animated films weren't willing to be. And it kind of then like it leads into this idea of like animation not necessarily always being for kids and stuff, and I don't know, there's an edge to Don Bluth films that Disney movies never really went. I mean, except when he was there, but but Disney movies never really got that far. But nowadays they're just so much more sanitary.
Yeah. So actually, Great Mouse Detective releases July 2nd of '86, and it is November 21st of '86 when American Tail comes out. That said, I fully believe that is because they found out what was happening, and Disney was like, we need to get ours out first.
We need to have a mouse story out there first. Yeah. We're the mouse people.
Especially when you consider that Black Cauldron is the last movie with Disney that Don Bluth is working on. It's uncredited, but he is an animator uncredited in 1985's The Black Cauldron, and then he's the director of An American Tail. So it just kind of tracks where that would be going in terms of his whole thing. Because he was known before that, right? He had done Dragon's Lair, he'd done Space Ace, Secret of Nim, but he was working at Disney, which is the big thing. The reason why he's able to do what he does in the 90s, well, I guess beginning in 86, is because he is fired after the failure of Black Cauldron. Because, you're not wrong. Like, it is a grimy movie, but that is where Disney was like, we need to completely look at what we're doing and reassess.
You know what I can think of? I don't know why this is what's popping into my head, but the closest that Disney has gotten in willing to do like that kind of thing again is that really weird live action Sorcerer's Apprentice they did with Nicolas Cage and Jake Baruchel. Remember that?
I've never seen it. I'm definitely interested, but I never saw it.
There's something about that felt very classic Disney. Well, I mean, they were trying to capture it with the whole Sorcerer's Apprentice thing, right? But in doing that, like, it's got like piss filters as they're affectionately called in the business. So like everything is like in this really like saturated hue, like with like really bright reds and like dark yellows and stuff, and like it is a bit of a gross movie from time to time, and like but like purposely so, like part of the style, part of the design of that movie is that kind of griminess. That's like when I try and think of a newer Disney movie that I feel is willing to get grimy, that is for some reason the one movie that sticks out to me.
Yeah, they are really sanitized, aren't they? Like, I think that if Maleficent, I love Maleficent, I love the first one. I was recently reminded of the fact that there was a sequel, Mistress of Evil.
Yeah,
I'm like, there was a sequel to Maleficent. If that were just a little bit grimier, just a little dirtier, like, because it really worked, but there is still that, like, sanitization of the world, despite the fact that she is an evil fairy who has been cast out from society. For the record, since we're talking about it, the very first Amblin production film is Continental Divide from September 18th, 1981, followed by Tobe Hooper's Poltergeist, and then E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Amblin Entertainment uncredited on that one, actually. So yeah, interesting stuff there. But yes, so it was a Universal and American Tail. And yeah, like I feel like that's why we gotta rush it. We gotta find our own mouse movie. We're the mouse people. And more people, as much as I love The Great Mouse Detective, more people remember An American Tail. Right?
Oh yeah, no. Great Mouse Detective is the hipster answer at dinner parties, right? Like when people are getting to know you, like no, for sure. Like you say Fievel or you say American Tail, people, I personally grew up with American Tail. Fievel Goes West as like my Fievel movie, but yeah,
that came out when we were like cognizant baby people. That released in 1991. These other two films, you were a year from being born, and I was, referred to as how many months old I was. I was 6 months old when Great Mouse Detective came out, and 11 months old when An American Tail released. Yeah. And with the Steven Spielberg of it all. But, like, they are kind of weird movie twins. Now that I look at them both being released in 1986, and the fact that they're also both set at the end of the 19th century, like, that's crazy. Like, I never...
Yeah.
Like, because I look at the Olivia Flavisham, right? The toy maker's daughter. The toy maker, I'm pretty sure voiced by Scrooge McDuck voice actor. Alan Young. Yeah. So, yeah, Alan Young is Scrooge. Before, the 10th Doctor took over it. David Tennant, I know his name. I just wanted to be an asshole. But yeah, Olivia Flavisham, her whole outfit is reminiscent of Fievel. She's got the big, like, blue hat with the red puff on it. And she kind of has that Papa voice. Like, I would love to see how Hollywood was ripping itself off in the fucking 80s. Like
this happens a lot with especially animation. Like we see these movies that come out at like, Walmart and Best Buy and stuff that feel like they're just ripoffs of other films that like are doing it better. And while that is true for some of them, like there are animation houses that their expertise is making the $9 version of whatever Disney has out right now. But some of those, though, what you're really seeing is you're seeing those other movies that were like, sorry, this is too similar to Inside Out right now, so we're not going to put this one out. This one's going straight to DVD, or worse, gets buried for like 5 years until the heat dies down on whatever Disney just did, so that they can then release their version of it. And it's like, well, by that point, this is definitely just the Snow Queen is definitely just a ripoff of Frozen, right? Except that this is the one telling the actual story.
Yeah, this is the one based on Hans Christian Andersen's novella. Is it a novella or is it an actual book? Maybe it's a short story. I'm going to look it up. You keep talking.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's just considered a fairy tale, right? Hans Christian Andersen just wrote, Man, but yeah, so like this happens a lot, where you have animators that are working together that kind of come up with similar training and backgrounds and experiences. So like they start to get these ideas. People want to do something one way, pitch it to their bosses. They don't like it, so they take it and they go do their own thing somewhere else. But meanwhile, their bosses now have all that knowledge about what they're doing because they pitched it to them first, right? Like this is good. The dirty shit that happens in animation that like has been in it since the beginning. I mean, like go back and look at some of the shit that went down with Disney and the idea of stealing characters, right? And like and all sorts of weird shit that was going on with like, well, we need to have our version of that being kind of the driving force of creativity for a lot of decisions in like the early days of animation. And so it's always kind of this game of like imitation and catch up that like well, we need to have a mouse character, we need to have a mascot, we need to have, and that goes on to find its way into all other sets of the, like, think of Nintendo versus Sega, and like Sega being like, we need our Mario, and so, but we want him to be not Mario, so we get Sonic, right?
But
Like
it needs to have
that
a
kind of
bad
thing.
attitude for the 90s. Mario's
Right.
an old man.
There's
Sonic's a cool
yeah.
teenager.
Yeah, the way in which like animation and children's entertainment, especially, there's just a lot of this idea of just like, well, we we need to do our version of that now.
Yeah. I mean, look at, in our lifetime, all of the anthropomorphic animal shows that grew out of the success of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, which we thought, yeah, of
Yeah,
course,
right? Like
yeah, man.
it's, yeah, you got,
I mean,
you
like
got Street
to varying
Sharks,
degrees of
Biker
success,
Mice,
right?
Yeah. The Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Code of the West, baby. Like, and that's something that kind of bothers me when I hear people talk about like the Wild West Cowboys and Moo Mesa. This is something I heard about a bunch of canceled like shows. I watched some YouTube video that was about like the anthropomorphic animal craze in the 90s. And they were like real, like Cowboys and Moo Mesa was so derivative. And it's like, yeah, but it was also made by somebody working with Peter and Kevin. Right? He was at Mirage Studios. Ryan Brown. My name, Ryan Brown. Like, he got the okay from them to do that. And because he was there, like, he made it different. He made it not mute. Like, they didn't mutate because of ooze. It was a celestial event that caused all of that wildlife to turn into humanoids. Like,
a meteorite or something like that, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it like a...
Yeah, it's the Cowmet. It's the
Cowmet. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is. Fucking hell, man. Well, you know, the thing is like, I remember this is so reminiscent of like a fucking argument I got into once when I was in college with a person who will remain nameless because they don't look good in the story. But they were like, they got real shitty because a cover song of some kind was like hitting it big on the charts at the moment. And they were just like, I hate covers. Just do your own music. If you're not good enough to write your own music, you're not a good band. And I was just like, the entire history of music is based on musicians learning each other's compositions and playing them. And like, and then building off of them and doing different things. Like, that is how music exists, right? And in a lot of ways, like, we forget how important it is in animation that people do come up in houses, in animation houses, doing certain styles. And then when people are just like, well, this is just this, and it's like, well, yeah, because like that's what they were taught to do. And then like it becomes impressive when somebody can do something new, but I don't think it's, people treat it as really derogatory to be like, well, this, you know, this feels like it's just derivative of this and that. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's because that's where that person was working and learned how to do this, right? Maybe we need to give them a chance to express themselves for a little bit, to actually grow some, you know, muscles of their own and do something new and different. You know, not everybody is going to be a Tartovsky, right? Or however you never say his name right. But like nobody, you know, you're not always going to have, you know, I you know, despise the man for the dumb shit that he has done, but not everybody's a Butch Hartman, right? They can't just like kind of come in and change the game, right? And even those guys, I think, would argue that they had to put their dues in somewhere. And this is not me being like, you need to put your dues in, you need to suffer for your art. It's just that like, you got to learn how to do what you do somewhere. And to give people shit for their background and how they learned how to do their art and being like, well, now you're not doing anything that's breaking the mold is a really weird complaint sometimes for when we just want something to consume, you know? Like, I didn't need Cowboys of Moo Mesa to change television for me. I needed there to be something on TV that's on Saturday mornings that I wanted to watch, and it succeeded in that.
And yeah, no, I like cowboys and I like humanoid animals. It works for me.
I like the sci-fi. I like the jokes. I like the Western element. Like there's shit that just works here for me. Yeah.
But like, of all the ones to complain about as being derivative, the one that is like legitimately a little brother to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, while like Street Shocks was just pure, what if the turtles were sharks? Biker Mice from Mars, what if they were alien mice? Like, those are not from the same house. Like, it's...
No, and Moo Mesa is doing something different. By doing it in a time period, by bringing on the whole, like, Western aspect and adding in the sci-fi. So they're hearkening back to, like,
Cowboys
the
and
serials of
Aliens,
like the
really.
50
Yeah.
of well they're harkening back though to like the serials of like the 50s and 60s where like anything could happen. Like the Lone Ranger is suddenly going to fight an alien in this one because we just produced 52 of these a year. So like who the fuck cares what the story is this week, right? Like
Yeah, it's this weird thing. Like, we really thought after Unforgiven won the Oscar for '93 that, like, the world is hungry for Westerns again. And I mean, I get that, right? Dances with Wolves is technically a Western. You have Unforgiven, which wins the Best Picture for the '93 Oscars. You have like the Maverick movie, but like in terms of television,
Young Guns.
Young Guns, right? But in terms of television westerns, the world was not having it. Because in addition to the failure of Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa, though it definitely has like a cult status and made an effect, look at something like The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. And the fact that that show, like, it aired alongside The X-Files, Sejan. Like, you watched Briscoe, then you watched the first season of The X-Files. It was the Western of it all that just wasn't working for people, which is a shame. I'll admit that. It's a shame that, like, because
there was a little bit of like there was like a little bit of respect paid in like things like Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman and stuff. I don't want to
that's
like
true. Yeah.
you know, like but what those weren't cowboy action films, right? It wasn't spaghetti western style like Briscoe was trying to be.
Yeah. I mean, Briscoe is really trying to be pulp at its core. One of the best episodes is the episode that is framed as a father reading his son a pulp novel about Briscoe County Jr.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was getting at with Cowboys and Moo Mesa, right? Yeah. Is that they brought this like pulpy aspect to the table, where like the Turtles were kind of aiming all of their punches at like the world of comics and comic books. Mm-hmm. Cowboys and Moo Mesa was looking more at like the idea of like the dime store pulp novels of like I said, all the silly stuff that could happen. Cowboys versus aliens, like it comes from that exact genre.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so one of the episodes that came up when I confirmed the Cowmet of it all was how the West was shrunk. Like, yeah, that is exactly, right? People shrinking because the Wild West, as much as it was about land expansion, there was like an expansion of the mind as well. It's John Astin's character in Briscoe County Jr. The fact that he is a professor who is experimenting every episode is awesome. Like, that works for me, right? Because he can go to this Wild West where there are no regulations and build a rocket ship. That's fine. Like,
well, and didn't Cowboys of Moo Mesa also have like a vampire story at some point too? Wasn't there like a
there's like a scary buzzard character that is I believe is a vampire. Or, like, there's a bat. I mean, like, the fact that it's all sorts of desert-based animals really lends it to have, like, some interesting characters. Like the scorpion guy. He's scary. And it's also a little bit of Robin. I mean, everything is derivative of everything else. But I will say, and I have no idea who this argument was with about covered music. On some level, I'm fearful it was me, Sejan. And the greatest trick that Sejan ever played was trying to convince me. But I will say, I started kind of waging a bit of a war. It was probably my freshman year on, like, covers and remakes of movies. But, like, through research, I realized it's not that I'm upset that things are covered. I'm upset that the cover supplants the original. And that really started with, like, The Fly. Sitting in a room full of people who claim to love movies, who are unaware of, I guess this is like Vincent Price's episode in a lot of ways, the Vincent Price The Fly. Only ever knew about the Jeff... Oh my God, I can't think of his name. He's watching
Jeff Goldblum?
The Jeff Goldblum The Fly from the 80s.
Yeah, which is Cronenberg, right?
Yeah. Which, and I get it, I understand that, but it was a group of people who were upset that they were going to be remaking The Fly. And he's actually going to fly in this one. And they're like, how do you remake a classic like The Fly? And I'm like, well, The Fly was a remake, though, of a 1950s film featuring Vincent Price. So I guess however Cronenberg made The Fly, and like that became the scarier thing to me. It's not so much that stuff is remade or reimagined, right? We talk about this a lot on the show, how important like sequels or remakes of films are. It's when something does not pay homage to where it came from, right? Like, did you know that Tennessee Whiskey is a cover?
No.
Yeah, see? Like that, because I've never really been a big fan of the song Tennessee Whiskey. I'm just going to admit that, right? Specifically the Chris Stapleton version of Tennessee Whiskey. Then I was going out, I was watching people play out, and that song came up, and I'm like, this is an interesting song. I think I'd like to learn a little bit more about it. So the song itself was originally performed by David Allan Coe. He's the one who wrote it, recorded it, released it in 1981. It was later covered in 83 by George Jones, but most people could not tell you that. Most people think that it's an original by Chris Stapleton. And that's weird, because he definitely did put his own spin on it, but the own spin is the fact that it is a mashup of the lyrics of Tennessee Whiskey, but put over the melody of the song I'd Rather Go Blind by Etta James. And like, he don't really give any credit to Etta James for the fact that like the boom, 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 boom comes from her song. And it's just like, I went down this whole thing as I finally paid attention to that song. And most people that I talk to about the song Tennessee Whiskey think that it is a purely original thing created by Chris Stapleton. And I think that happens,
right? I mean, but there's instances of that all throughout music history, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, when I say House of the Rising Sun, who do you think of?
I mean, The Animals.
Yeah, except that it's actually a fucking folk song from like, it has no traceable origin.
Oh, okay.
And there's really popular versions that come from people like Nina Simone that are like, you listen to them and you're just like, it's almost what you remember from The Animals, but it's not quite. And it's because she's doing a version that she just learned that from a folk song, but it's a song that has been around since at least the 1930s, if not earlier.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh, wow. Please don't judge me for not knowing that. 1933 is what I'm looking at here as one of the oldest known recording of the song. Mm-hmm. Here's one from 1925.
Yeah. 1905. So like, it just goes further and further back.
Owned by American miners in 1905. Jeez, look at that. See? And that, but like it's something that happens, and what I become fearful of every time that there's a cover of a song, and I'll admit this because I can point to one big one that did make me nervous, and that was when Glee was getting big, and suddenly all of these fucking infants, and I'm being reductive there, but like people who were much younger than me finally knew the song Don't Stop Believing and did not know that it was a Journey song. They thought that it was an original song from Glee. And that made me a little nervous.
Did Glee do original songs?
No. But that's what people thought. Like, it's just... No, they did covers. But these people who had never heard it before, all they ever attributed it to was Glee. And that's like... One would hope that, like, it would make you seek out the original version. Right? That Glee would talk about it. And they did get better with that, right? Like the episode with Neil Patrick Harris, they called it, this episode is an Aerosmith episode. So all the songs in it are Aerosmith songs. So if you're the type of music nerd who's going to go out and look up the originals afterwards, you have the path to follow. But yeah. I remember when like Don't Stop Believing was suddenly huge again. And I'm like, why is it? And I asked a much younger person, and they're like, because it was in Glee, right? It's from Glee. Don't Stop Believing's from Glee. And I'm like, well, it's a cover by another song. Like, no, it's from Glee. Like, okay, I'm just going to stop this conversation. But it was one of those moments where I'm like a little nervous that this is going to be the future of music, the way that it's presented. And I mean, one of the reasons why is how many songs from the fucking Simpsons I didn't realize were covers of other songs. that were essentially just parodies, right? The first time I heard Amadeus by Falco, and I'm like, oh, Dr. Zaius was covering this. Like,
can I play the piano anymore?
Of course you can.
Well, I couldn't before.
This play has everything. Yeah. Whew, I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So I think I don't know what else to talk about, and I feel a little weird about that.
There's a couple of things here, there, and everywhere.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Well, I was gonna point out some weird stuff this week. Apparently, there's like an AI actress that is currently in talks to get an actual contract deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
how does that
scary.
make you feel?
Why do you need to get a contract for an AI actress? Not to be like the machines.
So
I'm on your side
the machine doesn't
rise.
need it.
Yeah.
The machine doesn't need it. The idea is that this will the whatever Tilly Norwood is the actress in question. Take that with all the quotes you want to around it. But Tilly Norwood is currently in talks to be signed to one of the bigs. They're not saying exactly who's been talking to her, but by all accounts, everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a chance that we may sometime in the next few months hear about the first AI actress getting a movie deal, getting a signed picture deal.
That's crazy. I'm so mad that we haven't covered Simone at this point. Like, what a weird movie Simone was. I would have never thought the Al Pacino film Simone would have been predictive.
Would have been relevant.
Jeez, that's so weird. God, that is scary. Oh, you've made my stomach turn. The stuff I remembered is that TV is back. I forgot that TV came back. Because we got 2 episodes of High Potential that were fucking terrible. Not to be that person, but I was just... I really hope that now that they've put this whole she has a rival and the game maker thing to bed, the show can get back to being fun. It just felt and the same sort of things that I complained about when I said, I wonder if High Potential is written by AI. Moments where this is not how that character acts. Right? This is something that Morgan should have found. If one of the other police officers does the magic psych sort of finding of something at a crime scene, then Morgan becomes irrelevant. And why is this cleaning woman who has high potential intellect a consultant for the LAPD? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's I don't know why that happened that way. And I'm not trying to be rude, right? I'm not trying to be reductive when I call her a cleaning woman. I'm just saying, if you take away the fact that the way her mind works makes her that much better and good enough to be a detective without any of the formal training that everyone else has gone through, what is happening here? Why is she there?
No, verisimilitude, man. They got to live their. They got to stick to the truth that they create. And in this world, she is supposed to be special because of the way that her mind works. But if you show she's not special anymore, the rest of the show kind of falls apart.
Yeah, and that happened 2-3 times across the 2-part season finale. That was broken up into 2 episodes, the 2 weekly releases. Additionally, with that whole thing, I'm trying to, I had it. It was in my head. I could grab it. Oh, they were both directed by James Roday Rodriguez, who is Sean Spencer from Psych. So this is somebody who's been on a show that had to keep that going. First of all, I love that he's gone back to James Roday Rodriguez because he lost to Rodriguez because he thought he wouldn't get work, which is why he came up with the stage name of James Roday. But I like that he's re-embracing it. Unlike, you know what? I'm going to throw a fuck you towards Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
Just, who I picked the name because it sounded Jewish and I figured it'd help me get work. I'll tell that origin story anytime I get the opportunity. So I like that James Roday has re-embraced who he is. Though, I mean, if you want to play devil's advocate, maybe it could be so that he can get work and opportunities as that, which is just, God, Hollywood is a gross industry, man. If you go down to the roots of it, if you look for the
entire thing's a popularity contest, right? And that feeds off of the worst impulses of humanity.
Very true.
That is how the entertainment industry has always worked. And
what else?
I don't want it to be that way. That's not me giving it a pass, but yeah.
Only Murders in the Building has started up with its 5th season. And 5 episodes are already out, right? Because they did 3 the first week it came back.
Oh.
And it's an interesting mystery. They're leaning into the mafia with this one. And there's been a lot of, the Godfather house showed up in, the 2nd or 1st episode, which was interesting. It was the 1st episode that the house from The Godfather showed up as a plot significant moment in the show. But the only reason I want to bring up Only Murders in the Building is that I know that they don't really take my advice, but I like that they have stopped listing the big stars in each episode in the title sequence. And that now it is just a splash screen at the end of it as to who all the bigger name stars were. Because that ruins some of the mystique of watching the episode. If you know that Paul Rudd's going to be in this episode, despite the fact that his character died 4 episodes ago. Spoilers. But it's the first episode of that season, right? That's how it goes. But that's just I'm glad that they've taken that under advisement. That maybe just in the opening title sequence, show us Steve Martin Short, Selena Gomez, and Cyril Creighton. I can't think of his last name. I'm going to look it up, though, because I like him. He's really good in the show, and I want to make sure that he gets Murders in the... I should have probably put the word only, Sejin. That would have made it come up. Michael Cyril Creighton as Howard. Those are the only 4 names that show up beforehand. So, it's exciting when you're watching an episode and there's Chiffon Fallon, which she now has a surname there. But, that was exciting because I wasn't expecting to see her in an episode. Her name didn't come up at the beginning of the episode. So I like that. The thing that makes it feel a little weird is the fact that now they have a companion podcast that is on Hulu.
Yes.
Chiffon Fallon Hogan, by the way, which I love Chiffon Fallon. But now Hogan. Elaine's roommate in Seinfeld, plays a fantastic role in What's the Worst That Can Happen. And perhaps most famously, it's like he's wearing an Edgar suit in Men in Black. So that's been an interesting, engaging, sort of mystery. And Tulsa King started up again. And a lot of place setting in the first episode from last week. And obviously I wouldn't talk about anything that's going on for a while, but oh my God, I don't know how Tulsa King keeps being good. As most of the other Taylor Sheridan stuff seems to have diminishing returns. Honestly, I feel like Sylvester Stallone being a part of the creative process there. Because he somehow made me care about 6 Rocky movies and 5 Rambo movies.
I mean, the thing is at the end of the day, there is a charm to Sylvester Stallone that we can't deny, right? There's a reason why he has had the career that he's had. And there have been plenty of other meatheads that have worked in Hollywood. Not many of them have been able to maintain the career and respect that Stallone has the entire time,
Right, and it's because he does the work. He is yes, he's a meathead. That is probably how you would describe him if you saw him. But
I don't mean that as him as a person.
No,
I mean that
that
him as the role that he wants, that the role that he has succeeded in filling in Hollywood throughout the 80s, 90s, and 2000s was he was always one of the dumb action guys. They're but the secret is he wasn't actually dumb.
Yeah, exactly. And what he's doing in Tulsa King as Dwight Manfredi, he is not that character. He is super intelligent, and it's real fun. He's not super intelligent enough where I think they'd make him a consultant for the LAPD, but he is clearly a very intelligent, calculating person. And that works. I like that. I like seeing him play a role like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's also, you know what, Demolition Man. I love him in Demolition Man. The fact that, like, he's called John Savage, right? Like, but he is, like, he's so smart in Demolition Man. Like, he notices things. Like, you understand why he was such a high ranking. I mean, that movie also, we should do Demolition Man sometime. Because I have a lot of problems with the reason why he is also put on the ice.
Yeah.
I don't have problems with Taco Bell being the only fast food, though.
What about Pizza Hut?
I guess if we're in Europe, it's Pizza Hut. It's all Yum brands anyway, and we've had
that's the one with the 3 seashells, right? I keep having this
that's the
thing in my head
three
about the 3 seashells.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells. It's also the one where Sylvester Stallone met and fell in love with Rob Schneider. So then he's like, "You should be my buddy in Judge Dredd."
Oh man.
Yeah. So, yeah, TV is back, right? Tonight, Bob's Burgers comes back, which is crazy after the year it's had. Like, its 15th season was so crazy. I feel like the last episode of season 15 aired a month ago. And we're already getting new Bob's Burgers tonight. Like...
Yeah, I mean, that show's a machine. I don't know where the end of the road is for some of this stuff with Fox Animation. Like, it used to be the thing to talk about with Simpsons, which is still up there. Like, I have no idea how that show ever finds an ending, right? But then on top of that, now we've also got Family Guy. We've also got, Futurama, the show that wouldn't die, right?
True say, yeah.
And then, Bob's Burgers. I just, like, I don't begrudge anybody, like, getting the work, right? If people want to pay these guys to make these shows till the day that they fucking die at their writing desks, then, like, yeah, like, fucking take that money and run, man. I just don't know what the exit strategy is.
Well, and then one of the craziest things is something like American Dad, right? That was canceled at Fox, resurrected on TBS, now canceled at TBS, going to be resurrected on Fox. Like, the 7th season premiere, Hot Water, where they buy the hot tub voiced by CeeLo Green, some of that stuff has not aged great. Like, that's one of the problems with these long-running shows. Right? That episode, Hot Water, was originally planned to be the finale of American Dad. Like, they wrote it with the intention of, this show's going to end eventually. This will be the finale. We'll kill Stan. He'll get eaten by a living hot tub, and that'll be the end of the show. And they just kept getting renewed and given time that they're like, well, this is a good idea. We should use it now. Like, and there are many examples of things where, like, this was our plan for the finale, and now it's just an episode. The 300th episode that brought the whole saga of the Golden Turd to a conclusion was meant to be a finale. So, like, not only...
I just watched one the other day, that 250th, I think, where Stan has to be one of Roger's
persona assistant. That is one of the episodes of American Dad I have seen just too many times. It's the introduction of Rogu. I love homunculus Rogu. Yeah.
Oh god, the living tumor.
I love Rogu. He's such a wonderful character. I know that he's divisive, but I really do like the character. But yeah, like, so not only that, The Simpsons, there have been episodes that they've made where they're like, this is the canon future of The Simpsons. Like,
yeah, right.
I don't know. Yeah, you're right, because America, like, sorry.
No, I'm not. This is not me, like, wanting these things to ever end. It's just that, like, you look at the way that everything else is kind of falling apart, and it's kind of hard to not look at this stuff and wonder what's going to be the thing, you know?
Yeah.
But I hope nothing is. Like, I hope
I hope they
that
get to go
we
as.
discover immortality and we get the Simpsons in perpetuity.
I mean, I don't want The Simpsons to eventually just be AI, though. I will admit that. Can I admit that here without like sounding terrifying?
Well, so that was one of the articles that I sent you this week. Actually, was talking about the idea that movie houses and television production companies are having a real hard time actually getting AI to do what they want it to do because they don't have enough material on their own, but they are also, if the charge finally gets led to stop AI companies from using copyrighted material, it's going to be places like Warner Brothers. It's going to be places like Disney that are gonna be on the side of you can't use our material in your AI algorithm. And like, if that's the case, then that means that they are kind of sectioning themselves off, right?
I mean, if that's the case, watch Kumba instead of The Lion King. Watch An American Tale instead of The Great Mouse Detective. I kid, of course. But also, how does that work with, like, so you can't feed it The Great Mouse Detective, right? You wouldn't be able to feed it that, but you could feed it the Basil of Baker Street books, right? That the movie is based on. Like, where does the line get drawn? Just in that specific part of work, but there have been other.
And how do you prove that it was too? Is going to be the big question. Like, there's always going to be what is it called, forensic like tracking that you can do on digital files and stuff, but that's going to require. It's going to require a whole new style of law enforcement.
I heard a story this week about a child being accused of plagiarism because the question was like, please describe this. And they started the sentence with, this is, and then the plagiarism, the fact that they like took the question and incorporated it into their answer, identified their answer as plagiarism. And it's just like,
yes.
So then, and the teacher was like, your kid plagiarized this whole thing. It's like, no, the kid answered the way that you answer questions like that. Like an essay question, that's part of what it's done, is to
restating the question is like 101 for test answers.
Right.
Like, that is what you were always told, like, you should restate the question because that's wild. That is wild.
And it led to this whole like, and then they looked into that teacher and her claims of plagiarism. She was just throwing the stuff through like the plagiarism checker and then not confirming where the plagiarism was. Because, restating the question, that's how you start an essay answer. Right?
At least that's what I was taught. I don't know if that's what they're doing kids these days, but like, I was always taught, like, first things first, like, restate the question, reshape it into a sentence so that you kind of have that.
So you have a jumping off
direction
point
to go.
right?
Right.
It's essentially your thesis of this essay is answering that question, and you start off an essay by stating your thesis, which. Like
I don't want to go too far down the AI doom hole, but I did also find myself this week discovering some of the new AI tech in my new phone. I had a little bit of a SIM card read problem for the last couple of weeks on my old device, and so I ordered myself a new phone this week. And when I got it and started it up, and it brought all of my photos over, it introduced me to a new feature that this particular phone has, where it will take your photo and you could pay for more, but for free, it will turn it into like a 15-second GIF where it like adds movement to a still picture. And like, it makes some pretty strong choices. Because like, I took a picture of me and my dog laying on the couch together, and then like, it turned it into a GIF of me out of nowhere pulling like from like off camera, pulling a party like popper thing that, the noisemakers, right, and like putting it in my mouth and blowing it, and like that was this like GIF of me and my dog laying on the couch. It was suddenly, I was, don't know why, throwing a party with my dog.
I understand but if like, you don't, but if I could put that into supplemental material, that sounds crazy. Like,
I don't know if I've got that anymore, but I will send a couple of things that never happened your way. Don't worry.
Because that is just insane. Like you said, it's you and your dog laying on the couch. I'm like, dear God, I know that we don't have sponsors or anything, but I hope this stays like PG-13 at the most.
Don't worry. I've done my due diligence on it to figure out how far you can go with like what types of stuff and things. And there's definitely some guardrails. Like there's some things that it will just not accept or make animations about, or like choices. Like I said, like it makes some really weird, strong choices. I'll be blunt. I had a blunt in my mouth in one shot, like, and I was just curious. I was like, what are you gonna do with me, like with a guitar around me and this going on? And it really quickly had me pull my hand away from my mouth, and the blunt disappeared, and suddenly it was just me strumming guitar. And it was like, okay. And like there's things like that. You can tell that it's AI because it is making mistakes, but the mistakes it's making are not so ugly anymore that it's unwatchable, right? It's not like I have 6 fingers on a hand all of a sudden, not to be rude to anybody out there with 6 fingers on their hands, but like it's not giving me extra appendages or anything like that. But like I put a picture in of like a drink that I had made, and it showed my hand come on screen and drop ice into the glass, and then like the second the ice hit the water, it kind of just disappeared. But it was a good enough effect for me to understand ice just went into that glass. Like it wasn't ugly in any way. And like that, it's wild shit.
Yeah. I mean, to go back to the 6 finger thing, I don't care how many fingers you have on your hand. I'm not going to disparage you for that. But if something is trying to recreate something that exists, if AI is trying to recreate somebody who only has 5 digits on each of their hands, when it adds another one, that is going to be a problem. And if you're one of these 6-fingered people out there listening to the show, first off, reach out. We'd love to say hey, right? But also, How would you feel if it recreated your hand and then AI's like, yeah, but humans only have 5 fingers. So it gets rid of that thing that's part of you. Like, it's a problem either way, right? If we're going to use artificial intelligence to create things, we need to make sure that it's getting the things it's creating correct. And
I pulled the drink video for you, Dev.
Oh, let me see this.
Yeah, you got to watch it. It's wild. This never happened. Like, for clarity, what you're about to watch never occurred.
I like that it made the drink blue. Like,
no, the drink was always blue. If you look at it from the start, the drink was always.
Oh,
yeah, I was experimenting with the backstory on this random ass picture on my phone. I was experimenting with some blue curacao and trying to make some like blue drinks, and when didn't go well because blue curacao sucks. But that was the reason I even had the picture of the drink to begin with. And then the only thing that it added was dropping the. It even picked up on the little bit of like cherry syrup I had at the bottom of the drink that it then turns into a cloud in the glass. It's wild.
That's crazy. Like it stirs itself. I wish there was self-stirring ice. That's something. Right? Where's the would-be millionaire who invents ice that when I drop it into the drink, it stirs the drink until the ice dissipates?
And like, I don't want anybody out there to think that I've suddenly turned the corner on like AI. This is a nightmare scenario. I'm just kind of basking in the horror of it all, because like this is how this is innocuous, right? These are my own photos. This is, as I said, there's clearly guardrails on it. There's things it won't show, like for example, things like smoking and stuff like that. But there's this idea that this is the tiny little step that it takes to get into your life. And you're just like, well, I'm okay with this. And then the next thing you know, we're 10 years from now, AI is taking people's actual careers. I mean, it's already kind of doing that now, except people are starting to realize that it's not working. But we'll figure it out eventually. I don't think that just because it's not working now means people are going to stop trying to use it. But once they do figure it out, like, we're going to realize, well, we shouldn't have let it in the door in the first place. Yeah,
this is know thy enemy. That's what Siegen is doing. When I watch AI created stuff, I always feel like it is preparing myself to be able to identify it, right? The fact that the voice has gotten better. The AI voice has gotten better, and that scares the shit out of me. Because
Yeah.
before it was very easy to, like, whenever I found my father watching a video on YouTube, to be like, just so you know, this is AI. Right? I'm not saying don't watch it, but you need to be able to identify that this is not a human being speaking right now. Because
Right.
that's going to be important someday in your life.
Yeah, there's a series that I've been watching on YouTube that I'm reasonably sure the animation is AI, but what I think it is it's a written script that somebody records and then they put an animation over it. But it's a series. It has ongoing characters. It has through lines and storylines that are like carrying over from episode to episode. But the entire animation of it is this like grainy. So part of the bit is it's like a found
Found
what's the show
footage?
about the missing kids? No. What's the
Oh,
show about like the missing people's
the
show from back in
4400?
like no. The real true stories, like cold case stories, like
Oh, Unsolved
missing persons,
Mysteries?
unsolved mysteries. Thank you. Yes, it is like a spin on unsolved mysteries, but it's supposed to be with this possibly alien race that is on Earth after the destruction of humans. So they do like like unsolved mysteries of the human life, like that kind of dumb shit, right? And so I'm so the style of it is this like grainy unsolved mystery style, like real people, but they're not people, they're these like aliens. And so I'm pretty sure it's using AI to do all the animation stuff, and it's scary as hell how good it is. But like basically they're just feeding it a written script, so there is some human element to it that is making sure that it doesn't go too far, down the
Off the
rabbit hole
rails,
on
yeah.
like
Like,
weird shit.
yeah.
Yeah. So like it's hard because like on the one hand it's a very silly thing, and I don't know whose job it's taking, like I think this is just an artist that's just like doing something, but at the same time, like this is the kind of shit that people are afraid of. This is the kind of stuff that is going to start really getting it's dangerous. It's dangerous art right now, and like I think it's always going to be. I don't know how we become cool with AI, because we sure as hell are never going to get like good laws in place to protect people from it. That's
I
yeah.
mean, so if you sign the AI actress, right? Particle 6's AI actress, Tilly Norwood, you sign that. How are you having her act against other actors? Or are you just churning out Tilly Norwood films?
Well, you say that like Disney has not made billions of dollars off of movies where actors aren't even in the same room.
That's a good point, right? I mean, hell, the first week of filming of Dumb and Dumber was just Jeff Daniels, in case they didn't want to use him, right? Like, there's a bunch of that movie that they were not in the same room. They shot around Jeff Daniels, so if they had to, they could replace him with another actor, and that was '94. Yeah, you're right. Hollywood's kind of a bastard, isn't it?
No, I mean it is the commoditization of art. It is
Yeah.
it is inherently an evil concept, right? But at the same time, it is something that we as humans require. It's a basic need. Like we need art, we need entertainment, we need this in our lives to help us figure everything else out, right? Like that's why scientists need to also take humanities classes, because they always they always thought about what they could do, never thought about what they should, right? Like and so like you want to be able to have a conversation with this stuff, whether you like it or not, right? But also in having that conversation, you are supporting it in some way, and it's hard. I know a lot of YouTubers that have had real heart to heart like videos come out over the last year talking about how they want to try and address AI, but all of them, right? All of them really seem to lean into, we're going to get stuff wrong. Like, so please have some patience, because this thing is so new and so wild. There may be a series that we call out for being AI that we find out isn't, or we may not realize this thing is AI and gush a lot of praise on it. And like, you got to understand that like, we're giving you what we know, right? We're working with what we've got right now. The entire theory website, film theory, game theory, that like those guys, the theorists.
Yep.
They did an entire like kind of like come to Jesus video about 3 or 4 months ago about talking about like how they were going to address AI and things, because in film theory especially, like things like AI previews coming out and people getting hooked on them and being like, oh my god, I can't wait until this Ghostbusters movie comes out, and everybody's like, that Ghostbusters movie don't exist.
I woke up this morning to Dante's Inferno 2. And it looked like it was something that I just missed as part of the PlayStation State of Play that happened this week. And I'm like, oh, did I miss it? Did nobody talk about it? And I'm like, no, this is fake. Mm-hmm. This is all fake. EA is not making a sequel to Dante's Inferno. But, like, that's what I woke up to this morning, was a report of that. And it looked legitimate. It had all the Sony stuff around it. And it's like, but now I just need to look and see if it's actually real. And also, I guess full disclosure, we've had discussions too about what we might want to do with AI and this show, right? Nothing, I mean, like, it's all early stages, but, you know, if we're going to talk about it, we've released a song that was, you know, Will wrote the lyrics and then an AI sang it. That's a thing that we've done on this show. And that has inspired me to have some conversations with some tech-minded individuals about how far we could push it, right? Yeah. And that's, so like, it's a thing that every creative is kind of looking at AI. And I didn't want to get pissed off when you sent it to me, but, you know, tomorrow or before I go to bed tonight, maybe to fight off the Sunday scaries, I'll look at that thing about how apparently 4 John Wick movies is not enough to teach it how to make a John Wick movie. That's how this whole conversation got started. That's right. Yeah, there was an article that came out about, is it Lionsgate that produces those, or Legendary? Lionsgate, yeah.
Lionsgate, yeah. Lionsgate is finding it really hard to make AI produce a viable product at the end with just their library of films. Well, so, I mean, then I guess this isn't a viable tool, is my response, right? But, you know, I like people don't seem to want to go that route. I don't know.
I don't know. Nobody wants to deny it right now because there's still too much potential money to be made.
Yeah.
Right? And that's really how all these bubbles burst, is that people keep feeding into the bubble even when you get to that point of like, I don't know if this bubble's going to be viable though. Yeah, but if it is viable, think about the money that can be made. God, man, I just really depressed myself, Sejin. I'm going to be honest with you.
I mean, but on the other hand, this is good news, right? It's like companies are starting to see the limitations of this stuff for the first time. Not saying that they're going to stop anytime soon, but we're starting to admit in the larger conversation that AI is not going to solve all of our problems, which I think was kind of the thing that was really eating at me for a while, was the way in which AI was kind of treated as the end-all be-all, right? The salve to soothe all wounds type shit.
Yeah. And I mean, even when that was happening, I'm like, no, where it is at right now, I don't ever see it being that in my lifetime. When it started, when it was being presented as, this is the magic cure-all. It's like, no, it's just snake oil, but now it's got bytes and bits, ones and zeros. Jeez. So I just, last thing, I went back to Mario Kart Double Dash. That game's interesting.
Yeah, the 2-person per cart carter.
Yeah, I think the thing that really struck me about it is that you have to win everything in order to unlock this stuff. I think that's a really interesting, because I wanted to. I mean, I got the 8BitDo like Pro 3 controllers, and one of them has the whole GameCube aesthetic to it. So I'm like, well, I want to test this out with GameCube games. So that's what I've been using to do it. And I'm like, well, my favorite character in Mario Kart Double Dash is Toad. So I'll go until I unlock Toad. And it takes a lot to unlock Toad. And weirdly, it kept me playing the game in ways that, like, I'm already done with Mario Kart World, because when I beat it on 150cc, I was automatically given all of the gold trophies for 50 and 100cc. There was no reason for me to go back and play those again, or to start from those and build up. Like, it really is like, when you beat Special World 100cc, that is when Special Cup 100cc, that's how you unlock Toad and Toadette and their cart. So it's like, well, why wouldn't... I mean, I could have gone about it better. I will admit that. I should have 50cc'd the first 3 to unlock Special Cup, and then gone up to 100cc and gotten the gold trophy there, so I'd have the character that I want. I know how I would approach it differently this time. But it was just interesting, because I did not remember that being such a part of what the game was. Because it gives you access to 50cc through to 150cc right from the beginning of that. Yeah. But there's so much that is tied to getting the gold trophy at each speed for each cup. And that tracks, because there are only 4 cups in that. Right? It's not going to be until... I think it was Wii that introduced the retro ones, right? Which is technically the 6th. I don't think I don't think Mario Kart DS did that. So, I don't know. I haven't played Mario Kart DS in a while, but I know I beat everything in it. And part of that
I think it had one like Mushroom Cup track that was like reminiscent of a Super Nintendo one or something, if I remember correctly. But like it was always like a one-off thing where like where it's like, this is the one special track in this game that is going to be this, and then it wasn't until we got to the Wii one that it was like unlock all these old nostalgic memories.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Mario Kart DS tracks.
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry.
Speaking of replayability and unlocks, just to kind of bookend my experiences this week, Borderlands is catching some shit right now, because apparently people are starting to realize that the bank system is a little fucked.
Oh,
with the unlocks, just because of the SD. So the way that Borderlands 4 works, right, is you can gain SDU upgrades throughout just doing shit. You know, it used to be you had to buy them. You used to have to go to Marcus and purchase them, and they were expensive and got more expensive as you went along. But the game will just kind of give you points, and so many points will unlock, more and more inventory. So one of the things you can upgrade is your bank inventory. You get all these points, you dump it into your bank, and then you're able to deposit a whole bunch of nice gear that you don't necessarily want to carry around all the time. But one of the appeals of that is that the bank is shared between as many characters as you create. Well, if you go in with a brandy new character who doesn't have all of those unlocks done yet, you can take things out of the bank, but you can't put things back in necessarily. So people are finding themselves getting screwed because they take something out and then realizing, no, I don't think I really want this right now, and then suddenly not having the ability to rebank it.
That's crazy. That is a problem. I will admit that.
So there's a lot of talk going on about the idea of replayability, and about how that is just kind of emblematic of the game's entire attitude about replayability, which it seems to just be like, don't replay this game. Like, pick one Vault Hunter, be that Vault Hunter, and that's your Vault Hunter, which is so antithetical to the ways that people play Borderlands, that people are getting kind of like, I guess coming back into the game afterwards, your map is completely blank again. And like, I will say, as somebody that has been working on kind of just filling out every little bit and piece of that map, it is a grind. It's a grind I'm enjoying, but like, if you don't enjoy that grind, that's nightmare scenario, that you hop back into the game and this huge ass fucking map is blank again. No more fast travels, right? You lose all your fast travels and stuff like that. Yeah.
That seems terrifying, losing your fast travels. Mario Kart DS does have the distinction of being the first game that had retro tracks. And actually, in a really cool way, each of the retro cups, there's 4 of them, is composed of one Super Nintendo, one N64, one Game Boy Advance, and one GameCube.
No,
So
they did
like
do a full
they
cup.
did
Yeah,
they did
yeah.
full cups, 32 full tracks, and also I mean I knew this one for a fact, but it was Mario Kart DS was the first one that had online. So you could actually race online, which is the whole reason that I got it, I'll be honest with you. But yeah,
Yeah.
like that's where that started from. Cuz I also like since I can play Double Dash again, I might go and look at Mario Kart Wii and see how the replayability is there. Like, I don't know. This
Well,
controller's great,
report
though. I
back,
do
man.
want to do it. Yeah, I'll report back. But yeah, I think that's everything that I've been doing. I'm trying to finish Silk Song this week. That's my big thing. I don't want to burn myself out, but I'd like to try to finish that one before October starts, when I, like, want to actually give Silent Hill 2 some of my time. And some of the other,
Yeah.
like, horror games that I want to beat for October. So
I am very curious to see how things go with Silent Hill F. I've heard
I'm not going to play
Silent
Silent
Hill
Hill F. I'm not playing that one yet.
these Silent Hill fans are notoriously
Yeah.
difficult to please, and so like there's a lot of conversation right now from a lot of people that are like, "Oh, this feels so good. This feels like we're getting some real, true, like paying respect to Silent Hill as a series and like and elevating it and all this." And then there's a bunch of people on the other side that are just like, "This isn't just Silent Hill 2 again. I wanted Silent Hill 2 again."
I mean, that tracks. I don't know. The only reason I have Silent Hill 2 is because I got it for like $20 at Christmas time last year. So I'm not rushing to play Silent Hill F. I've never even really been a Silent Hill guy. But I do, since I own it, since I was gifted it, I do want to try to beat Silent Hill 2 for October this year. I also want to do the Alone in the Dark remake that has David Harbour as the mayor.
Yeah.
So, like, I have some games to look at, but that does mean I'd like to try to at least roll credits on Silk Song. I don't think I'm going to 100% my first time through, but I'd like to roll credits on it, which means that I have, 4 days to do that? So, that should be fun. Hopefully it's more enjoyable than my time with the last part of Bonanza. It was a little disappointing, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just going to, I don't want to say that, I don't want to feel that way, but yeah, I was hoping for more, and it just felt like, no, I'm just doing what I got to do to see the end of this game. I kept thinking it would excite me, and it didn't. Anything else, Siegen? Anything else before we put this one in? For the people?
Let's put it to bed.
Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. If you want to keep the conversation going, we have a Discord you can join. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. If you're not on social media, which is increasingly the right choice to make, Siegen a real trendsetter on that one, you can contact us directly, thesayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join our Discord. But if you look at Discord and you say that's just social media 3.0 and you want to just stay away from it, we'll also interact with you via email. So if you're one of those, 6 fingers on one hand people we talked about, I don't believe you killed my father. You are safe to contact us. Send that email to thesayreport@gmail.com. And if it's for me, Devin Decker, or for him, Siegen Sarwick, just make sure that you put our name in the subject line, and it will be distributed appropriately so that only the Say Reporter you want to read your email will read your email. Of course, that doesn't mean they're not going to bring it to the other one's attention or potentially talk about it on the show. So just keep that in mind if you're contacting us. All of that said, again, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Say Report. And William, please bring us home. Later.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Siegen Sarwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.